Welcome back to Offroad Outlaws, y'all, and in this video, we're going to be diving into, of course, more community suggestions for the next update or future updates, and also, we are going to be checking out what might happen if they added more wheel options, because that is something that we have seen a request for from a ton of people in the community, as well as a bunch of people in my comments. Now, before we get into that, though, please remember that the example you are about to see has been edited and is not representative of in-game assets or materials. The release dates of future Offroad Outlaws updates are unknown at this time, but will be provided when available. And with that, this is an edit that I made that would basically represent what trucks would look like in Offroad Outlaws if we had more wheel options, like, for example, the American Force wheels in this edit. Now, keep in mind, I didn't do the other side. I am no graphic designer by any means whatsoever, but this was kind of the best I could do with the amount of time that I had. So, going off of how that looked, though, I think it gives us a little bit of a good look into what we would be able to do if we had a little bit more options for wheels. Now, of course, these wheel options would have to remain unbranded because obviously there would be licensing issues if not. However, I think that there would be a lot of different types of wheels that you could use for inspiration. I mean, everything from, you know, say American Force wheels or specialty forged wheels or maybe even fuels or semi-truck style wheels. There are all different sorts of wheels that could be used as inspiration for the Offroad Outlaws developers to then create their own style of wheels, you know, that were inspired by real-world ones. And now, let's get into some of the community-suggested features from the comment section of my last Offroad Outlaws video. Now, one of them that actually received a little bit of upvote attention was I would love to see sirens and horns get added, as well as turn signals, hazard lights, and new headlight colors. Now, although I will say I think turn signals, what they mean by that is they mean the ability to kind of change up the color options for your turn signals. Now, I do agree with the request for new headlight colors, though, because we've had the same headlight colors for quite a while now, and while they're decent and they work, I think it would be really nice to see some new options for those. Moving on, though, to the next comment that I'm going to read, they said something I would want them to add would be the ability to make more power in trucks to be able to keep up with barn finds using some features from No Limit 2.0. Now, interesting suggestion. I don't know if that's going to be a thing. They said, and a new suspension type like sport suspension to put on trucks and barn finds so we can lower them more and not deal with glitches that lowering vehicles comes with currently. That suggestion, though, I think is really, really good, and I think that would tie in really, really well with a lot of the people that have suggested airbag suspension, because with airbag suspension, I mean, depending on where you set, you know, the height of your airbag or like the perch of your airbag, you can kind of pick from a wide range of suspension heights, and, you know, airbags work perfectly for slammed vehicles that are lowered all the way to the ground. I think that would be a great way to sort of tie those two features together. Now, again, one that I keep seeing every single video is people wanting the ability to change the cab configuration, and I think that until we get a yes or no answer to this suggestion is going to keep popping up because there are trucks that people want in different cab sizes that they can't get right now. I mean, take, for example, the F450 that I drove out here in. That truck is only available in-game right now in 4-door and dually. Now, there are a lot of people that have asked for that truck to be available in, or at least have said that they want to see that truck available in single wheel and in different cab configurations like single cab. So again, this goes back into the theme that I have talked about a lot in previous videos, where the best thing that you can add to a game like this that is very customization heavy is providing more choice to your players. There's never going to be a bad reason to give your players more customization choice. And I think that the more choice you give, the more people are going to enjoy your game, and the more people are going to spend time playing your game because they are going to be able to build vehicles that more closely resemble either the vehicles that they want or the vehicles that they drive in real life or the vehicles that they dream of owning someday. Now, this next suggestion was really just a single vehicle suggestion, but I think it was a really good one, so I'm still going to call it out. And this person suggested the Jeep Comanche, and I would love to see the Jeep Comanche get added. I think it would be an amazing addition, and frankly, I am surprised that it's not a part of the vehicle list already, considering the vehicles we've had and we've seen get added over the years. I do also want to take a quick moment to say that I've also seen the request for window stickers continuing to pop up in my comments over and over again, and that is one that I'm surprised that they haven't added already, considering No Limit Drag Racing 2.0 already has that functionality and has had it for a long time, and as far as I know, the games are pretty dang similar, especially since they're made by the same developers, and if they're made by the same developers, I don't see why they don't go ahead and add window decals to Offroad Outlaws, because I think A, a lot of people would love it, and B, it would just give people another reason to customize their vehicles even deeper. So once again, it goes back to giving people more choice in the customization department. Jumping back though into vehicle suggestions, one thing that I keep seeing pop up over and over and over again is not just people saying that they want to see more Can-Ams get added to the game, but specifically they want to see 4-seater Can-Ams. Now, what's interesting about this is, you know, at the moment in Offroad Outlaws, you can't have anybody else getting into your vehicle, but what I find really interesting is, regardless of whether or not you can have people in your vehicle with you, the community, at least in my comments that's making the suggestions, seems to care a lot more about having 4-seater side-by-sides than having 2-seater side-by-sides. Now, I'm not sure if that's because the 4-seaters are just bigger, or they're just, you know, longer, or they look bigger so they look more imposing, or they look cooler to some people. I'm not quite sure why. Nothing wrong with it. I just find it very interesting and very curious, because it's sort of shifted from people used to just suggest specific side-by-side models, and now a lot of people are specifically saying, I want this model side-by-side in the 4-door version. Not the 2-door, but definitely the 4-door. And I'm like, huh, that's really interesting and kind of cool. Now, this next suggestion was a little bit different, but someone actually suggested that they would like to see a shopping cart go-kart. Now, if you haven't seen one of those before, it's literally exactly what it sounds like. It's like you took the body off of a go-kart, and then you took a shopping cart, you chopped the wheels off the shopping cart, and you welded it to the go-kart chassis, and then you put a seat in it, and then you rip around in a shopping cart. And so that, I mean, hey, you know, if I knew how to weld and had a bunch of free time where I didn't have to do anything else, I'd probably be building stuff like that too. So I completely understand why you would want it in the game, because it's just like, it's so ridiculous, but it's like ridiculous in the most fun way possible. And I think it's stuff like that I think people would have a lot of fun with. And I'm sure you would get your people that would say, well, if they could add this, why didn't they add this truck or this truck instead? And I'm like, well, I don't know. It's cool to have silly stuff like that in the game sometimes too. Another suggestion that I've seen a lot lately that I genuinely agree with is I would like to see a Toyota Tacoma in the game. And there's a lot of people that have been commenting that as well, because, you know, honestly, I'm surprised that the game doesn't already have its own sort of copyright-friendly version of a Toyota Tacoma. I mean, we do have a Tundra, which is sick, but I think even more people would love to have a Tacoma in the game, because there's a lot of people out there where, you know, if you're into Toyotas, especially if you're into Toyotas in the States, you know, there's a lot of people that will go directly to a Tacoma. Like, that is their dream truck, that is their dream build, whether they plan on building it into a pre-runner or a crawler or just dailying it with like a mild to moderate lift. I mean, the sky is kind of the limit with customization options for a Tacoma. There's so much aftermarket support for them out there, so I feel like it would kind of be a no-brainer to have a copyright-friendly version of a Tacoma in the game. And with that, I'm actually going to transition into the next suggestion that I've been seeing semi-regularly in the comments of these videos, and that is people asking for Ute conversions. Now, what a Ute conversion is, let's just use the Jeep XJ Cherokee as an example. If you Ute converted an XJ Cherokee, essentially what you would do is you would take your standard XJ, and then right behind the front doors, the driver and passenger door, you would chop the body off and replace it with a flatbed, which you could then put either a, you know, a small, like, they call them I believe some people call them a ute tray, but essentially they consist of toolboxes or spares or maybe a small camper or really whatever you want to put on the back of that flatbed conversion. So that would be really cool to see, although I do think it might require a little bit more of an overhaul of the customization system. So I don't know if that's something the devs would ever actually commit to doing or not, but it would be really, really cool to see them do it. So with that being said, though, that has been this latest round of what the community wants to see in future Offroad Outlaws updates. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave any and all of your thoughts, opinions, and or suggestions in that comment section down below. And if you're new around here and you would like to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn those notifications on. And I will see y'all next time.